Your TpT product covers are going to make a huge difference in the amount of views you get and in the number of sales you get. So let's talk about why that is and how we can make ours great. First, your cover is like the billboard for your product or sometimes even for your store, and it's communicating a message to your potential customers. That message is about your branding, so whether or not you're trustable, credible, if you're an authority, if this resource has value, it's saying all those things in its presentation in the customer's mind. So that's why we got to get these covers to look fantastic. It's going to let the customer know whether or not the resource is valuable. But more than that, it's going to let the customer make the decision on whether or not they're going to click on your product and explore more, go deeper, read the description, look at the previews and the preview download. So think about again how the customer comes to your product. They're on a search engine normally looking through a sea of options, and they're scrolling and they're scrolling, and what are they seeing? They're seeing cover images and product titles and sometimes price and maybe a few other things, but those are the main things. As you see on the screen, this is a TpT search page, or maybe it's a Google search page, I'm not sure, but you see that the main feature is the product covers. And so your product cover is going to be the difference on whether or not the customer clicks on your resource to learn more, or if they just scroll past it. So some formatting tips to make your cover images beautiful, stand out, and get clicked on. First, hopefully you know they need to be square formatted. The title should be between a third and a fourth of the image. So if you look at the template on the screen, that's a good example of about the right size of a title. Usually titles are at the top, though they don't have to be. Sometimes they're at the bottom. I've seen people put them on the side or in the middle, but generally that's where they go. But let's focus on the font. The font needs to be easy to read letters. You saw on the previous screen how there were lots of options to choose from. The image is kind of small, so the letters really need to be able to be read in that type of format where it's small and there's a bunch of options going on there. Now, the title normally has a colored background behind it. You see this one on the screen. There's a blue rectangle behind the title, and that blue rectangle is different color than the background of the image. This is to kind of make it stand out or to pop. Now, some people have the title be in different colors. Each letter is a different color, and that's okay. Some other things you can do to make it stand out are to add an outline on the font or a shadow, a drop shadow. Think of ways that you can get that to kind of pop and get the eye of the viewer, because they're looking at many different options there. You want yours to kind of catch their attention so that they go deeper in their exploration of your product. Now, besides having a heading and a subheading, which we'll talk about in a moment, your cover needs to have an image, perhaps an image of the worksheet and a clip art. The image or image section of your cover needs to be between half and 3/4 of the cover. So you are showing off how great your product is or how fun it is or things like that. You see it on the template on the screen. We have a space for the image of the worksheet and a space for clip art. And really, you should be having clip art and images of your resources. In the previous one, we'll go back a second. You see we had multiple images of the resource, but we do have a clip art over it. In this one, the clip art's kind of to the side, but again, we're using the clip art to kind of invoke a feeling, to make it feel fun and age appropriate and things like that. Subheadings. Usually at the bottom of the worksheet is a subheading or directly below the heading. In this example, the subheading is directly below it. Often the subheading is a different font than the heading. It's also smaller in size, and a lot of times it's either in a different color or has a different color background behind it, like the one on the screen. Now, this one on the screen has a subheading, but it also has a section at the bottom where there's more information. So sometimes that might be grade level or benefit of the resource, or something else like how many pages are in it, or something that is going to be of value to the viewer or the customer. And a good strategy I have found is when you're putting something else at the bottom, offset it. Don't center it because then it just kind of looks very blocky where the headings, subheadings are centered and then the bottom is centered. Offset it, so like a circle on the side or a banner on the side, something like that. Okay, so subheadings, we said they're smaller, different font size, different color, sometimes have different color background and the location we talked about. Okay, the final tip is to use a template. So there are really three main things that we've talked about, and that's having a heading, a subheading, and perhaps a little bit more information like some of those that you see on the screen, and having the image. The image should pop. So you see on the screen there are different ways to make your image pop. Some of these have outlines, some of these are inside of a circle, some of these have colors behind it, but you want your image to kind of leap off the page. Again, notice all of these have bright colors. Bright colors get the reader's attention. That's not to say that you can't use a very dark background. I have some that do that, but when you use a dark background, you want bright colored font, bright colored clip art, outline around the images, things like that, to still kind of stand out and pop on the viewer. Because again, they're looking at lots of different cover images. You want yours to stand out. So my last tip was to use a template. If you have built templates for your cover images, great. That's going to help you get your future cover images done quicker, and you know exactly what to put in where, and it's going to help you find success. As you're building your own cover images, look at the ones that are being successful and kind of iterate the rest of them so they look like that. You know they're being successful if you're getting a lot of cold traffic, a lot of views. Now, if you don't have templates, I do have a template that is purchasable. It has 17 different templates inside of it. Some of them you see on the screen now and you've seen in this presentation. Of course, if you're in my membership, you already have access to that, or you can purchase it. Either way, I hope you spend some time building a great cover image that's going to stand out, pop, get you a lot of views and a lot of attention, because that's going to drive sales to your TpT store.